Jamie Dornan faces the aftermath. I told the truth, but it cost me everything. Silence after the storm. A week after his explosive statement, "The baby in Dakota Johnson's belly is not mine," Jamie Dornan disappeared from public view. No red carpets, no interviews, no social media. The man who had once been everywhere suddenly vanished, leaving behind a trail of confusion and curiosity. His words had stopped the rumors but started something else entirely, a deeper conversation about loyalty, truth, and the emotional cost of being honest in a world addicted to scandal. While the tabloids moved to their next target, the people closest to Jamie knew he was struggling behind closed doors. Inside Jamie's quiet world. In his countryside home outside London, Jamie focused on his family, his wife Amelia and their 3 daughters. But even within the walls of safety, the echoes of the headlines still lingered. A friend described the atmosphere as peaceful but heavy. He sits by the fire, barely talks. Sometimes he watches old interviews of himself and Dakota. He doesn't smile, he just stares. It's like he's trying to remember when all of this was simple. Amelia, though supportive, couldn't ignore the toll it had taken. "He did the right thing," she told a confidant, "but truth doesn't always bring peace." Dakota's heartfelt message. Then, out of nowhere, Dakota Johnson broke her silence. On a quiet Tuesday morning, she posted a photo of herself holding a white rose, no caption, no explanation. But a day later, during an interview for a magazine cover, she finally spoke. "When someone tells their truth, it doesn't always mean they hurt you. Sometimes, it means they're protecting something sacred. I respect Jamie, always will. What we had was real, even if it wasn't what people think." The interviewer noted her eyes filled with tears when she mentioned his name. The internet exploded once again, but this time with empathy instead of outrage. Hashtags like #RespectDakota and #StandWithJamie began trending side by side. The private letter. An anonymous insider later revealed that Dakota had written Jamie a private letter after reading his statement, not a message of anger, but of understanding. It was said to begin with, "You did what you had to do. And I know why." She reportedly thanked him for his honesty, for his kindness, and for the friendship that had once been their anchor through chaos. Jamie never confirmed receiving it, but friends said he kept a single folded envelope in his jacket pocket for weeks afterward. The Hollywood divide. Within Hollywood, the reactions were divided. Some admired Jamie for being transparent. Others whispered that he could have handled it more quietly. Producers and PR teams debated how his image might shift, from romantic icon to guarded family man. But among actors, there was respect. Sam Heughan privately commented, "He told the truth in front of the whole world. That takes guts. That's a man, not a headline." Even Chris Martin, ever the gentleman, was rumored to have sent a message to Jamie through mutual friends. "No hard feelings. Life's complicated. We all do our best." The confession. Weeks later, Jamie agreed to a sit-down interview with The Guardian. It was intimate, no flashing lights, no cameras, just words. When asked whether he regretted the statement, he paused for a long moment before answering. "Regret? No. But it broke something inside me. Not because of guilt, but because of sadness. Dakota's a beautiful soul. What we went through, what people imagined, it was never meant to be this painful." He leaned forward, his voice low. "I told the truth, but it cost me a piece of peace I'll never get back." The interviewer described his eyes as tired but honest, the kind of exhaustion that comes not from lack of sleep, but from emotional weight. Dakota's journey continues. Meanwhile, Dakota's pregnancy progressed quietly. She remained out of the spotlight, appearing only for small charity events or casual walks by the beach. Her growing belly was visible now, and so was her calmness. A friend told People, "She's radiant. Whatever happened between her and Jamie, there's no bitterness. She's focused on this new life, this new chapter. And then came the whispers that Chris Martin had visited her home. Not for reconciliation, but for closure. He reportedly brought a small silver bracelet engraved with the word, harmony. He didn't stay long, but his gesture spoke volumes. The unexpected reunion. Months later, fate placed Jamie and Dakota in the same city again. Both were invited to a private film industry gala in Los Angeles. They didn't arrive together, but they couldn't avoid each other forever. Witnesses described the scene as electric but restrained. When they met eyes across the room, neither smiled nor looked away. Finally, Dakota walked toward him. Cameras caught nothing, security had kept the event strictly private, but insiders claimed the conversation was quiet, emotional, and surprisingly kind. She told him she forgave everything, a source whispered. He said, "There's nothing to forgive." They talked for a few minutes, then hugged gently, not as lovers, but as two people who had finally made peace with their story. The public turned soft. The world soon learned about that moment through leaked eyewitness accounts. Instead of reigniting the scandal, the reunion melted public opinion. Headlines shifted from, "Jamie denies fatherhood," to, "A bittersweet closure between two stars." A Hollywood blogger summed it up perfectly. "They gave us fantasy, pain, and finally, grace. Maybe that's the real ending the world needed." Even fans who once blamed Jamie began posting messages of forgiveness. He told the truth. She accepted it. Maybe that's what growing up looks like. The new normal. As time passed, the frenzy faded. Jamie returned to his work in Belfast, diving deep into new roles that reflected maturity and introspection. In one of them, he plays a man haunted by rumors, art imitating life. In interviews, he now speaks of fatherhood, empathy, and privacy. "The internet will move on," he said recently. "But my daughters won't forget how I handled this. That's what matters." Dakota, on the other hand, welcomed her baby quietly, away from cameras. No one knows the exact date, nor the name of the father. But her mother, Melanie Griffith, was seen leaving her house smiling, holding a small blue blanket. The peace they deserved. Months later, Jamie sent a bouquet of white orchids to Dakota's home. Attached was a small card. "Congratulations. You'll be a wonderful mother. J." She never replied publicly, but a week later, she posted a photo of white orchids on her Instagram story, with the caption, "Thank you for kindness that asks for nothing." It was enough. The internet, for once, stayed silent. Lessons of love and truth. In the end, Jamie's words, painful though they were, freed both of them. He protected his family, and she reclaimed her narrative. They didn't end up together, but they managed something rarer in Hollywood, respect. A columnist wrote, "Jamie and Dakota's story is not about scandal or betrayal. It's about two people brave enough to draw a line between fiction and reality, and still wish each other peace." Epilogue. A quiet ending. A year later, Jamie was asked again about Dakota in a podcast. He smiled faintly. "We went through a lot together, some real, some imagined. But we'll always have a bond. Not everyone gets to share that kind of connection. I'll always wish her the best." The host asked if he had met her baby. He chuckled softly. "No, but I've seen the photos. The baby's beautiful." He paused, then added, "And maybe that's enough." Final words. When asked if he would change anything about how he handled the situation, Jamie answered without hesitation. "No, because I didn't speak to protect myself. I spoke to protect the truth, and the people I love." The camera caught his expression, calm, older, and wiser. And somewhere across the ocean, Dakota Johnson, now a mother, smiled as she read the quote in her quiet California home. She whispered to herself, barely audible, "He finally found peace." Then she turned off her phone, looked down at her sleeping child, and whispered one last time, "So did I."